Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I think the first thing to admit here is this is kind of a bit of a clickbaity title, to be honest. And, I think you always want to be skeptical of someone who's saying, like, this is going to be the next hot thing, because, to be honest, I have no idea what's going to be the next hot comic book, like how well Batman Beyond and Ultimate Fallout 4 have done. But in this short list here of 3 CGC 9.8 comic books that I want to recommend here, I think they're great moderns to consider. Two of them I do not have in my collection, and one of them I do have in my collection that I'll show. But there's certainly moderns to consider. I think you can make a good case for each of them that they're really, high potential CGC 9.8 comic books, or just, comic books in the raw that you might want to buy. But definitely a bit of a clickbaity title, and I sort of, was tempted to kind of use Ultimate Fallout 4, with it being so hot right now. I'm sure the search results are a lot more, so wanted to use that in the title. But really, I'm not promising like that any of these books are really going to get over $1,000 in the CGC 9.8 or anything. But I do think they're great investment grade books. So let's get right into the list here, shall we? So first book is one I have not talked about, I don't think at all on the list, but a big first appearance, yeah. So it's Captain America #6, the first full appearance of Winter Soldier. So what really turned me on to this book was, I had mentioned, it was one of the first Ultimate Fallout 4 videos I did recommending the book like 6-7 months ago. My nephew, Dan, is jumping around on all the couches in his Miles Morales costume, and he's 5 years old. So he has a Miles Morales costume, but he just had his birthday a couple weeks ago at the end of May. And he had got a Winter Soldier costume for his birthday, so I believe he turned 6. And so he really loves Miles Morales, and he's really loving the Winter Soldier, and he really loves Wolverine, is his other one that he's just right into. So, Winter Soldier kind of sticks out for me like that, because these kids aren't thinking about, what the next hot comic is going to be at all. They're just like, what is the coolest thing? And that's all I want. And he's all about the Winter Soldier right now, which I think is a really good sign, and certainly an unscientific sign for sure. But let's look on the census, though. There's 306 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for Captain America #6 from 2005. First full appearance of Winter Soldier. There is a variant cover to consider, too. That's a little bit more expensive, and we'll get into the prices. But the CGC 9.8 ratio is 51.3%. So maybe, a bit of a negative on this book is that it's not really rare in the 9.8, 51.3%, nothing to write home about, essentially. You can't really point at it and go, oh, it's a lot more rare than, any of, Ultimate Fallout 4 or NYX #3. All those other books are more rare in the CGC 9.8 with lower CGC 9.8 ratios. Although this one is more rare than Edge of Spider-Verse #2, which is, I believe it's 60% something-ish, the CGC 9.8 ratio, so the lower the better with these ratios. So for Winter Soldier, Captain America #6, of all graded copies, 51.3% of them are 9.8s. So let's check out the price for first full Winter Soldier. Really high potential hero, I think. So price on Go Collect, I'm seeing $170 as the fair market value. And looking on some completed listings on eBay, they're sort of going from that $170 up to $200, I think. Some people are definitely willing to pay $200 for this book. Now, certainly we want to talk a little bit about the promotional environment. I think if you can get it closer to $170, that's a great price for this book in the CGC 9.8 white pages. Promotional environment right now, yeah, so I don't know too much about, I don't have Disney Plus or even watch too much TV, but there's the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus series, I think it is. I don't even know if it's come out yet or not. But there's certainly going to be some promotion, and hopefully that show really ticks and clicks with people. And, this book could increase in popularity that way. How sort of, maybe like how The Mandalorian has just really sort of captivated people. Because right now it is a bit of a cool book. And this book, I think, was well over $200, let's call it a year or two ago, when, these Captain America movies were coming out, and this book was really hitting hard, and people were realizing if they liked The Winter Soldier, this was kind of the book to get. But now, kind of coming off in price, I think it's a decent time to kind of step in here if you like Winter Soldier. And, yeah, and when you think about Winter Soldier, he's certainly a hero, but sort of at the beginning, I think he was kind of programmed to be a villain kind of thing, but now he's maybe a hero or an anti-hero, and you always like to have first appearances of big heroes with big potential, and I really think that, maybe my 6-year-old nephew is onto something here, where for me, I would never really think of like Winter Soldier as like an iconic character that I wanted to collect, but again, I know these kids aren't thinking at all about what the next hot book is going to be. They're just thinking about what's the coolest thing possible, and that's what I want to like. And Winter Soldier's really sticking out to my young nephew, who's right into superheroes and everything like that. So, I thought I'm finding now that I have this one written down on kind of my want list, and I'm doing some searches, and usually I like to buy one before I kind of do a video, but I thought I'd put it in a video anyway. So, Captain America #6, first full Winter Soldier, the variant cover of it as well. One to consider I like the first print with Cap on the cover. They have that sort of like pastel-y type of covering, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but this is I think the covers are pretty well executed. Like I do like the cover on it, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, one to consider, and one that I think now I find myself doing searches for this book and hoping maybe one pops up in Canada, because the shipping seems to be taking a long time to come to Canada lately from the US. So maybe looking for one of these to pop up in Canada that I can snipe for hopefully under $200, hopefully closer to $170 in the CGC 9.8 for Captain America #6. Okay, so next book here is a really underfollowed one, I think, and I want to shout out to the team we had a pretty good discussion in the comment section of our the Star Wars video that I had just made a couple days ago. But Kanan The Last Padawan #6 is the book I want to talk about. This is the first full appearance of Wren, or Sabine Wren, who's become a really popular, sort of hot character, sort of, kind of percolating right now, I would say. Not sort of Ahsoka Tano popularity quite yet, but there are rumblings that this character may be in the Mandalorian Season 2 as well. So, I did a little more research, and a lot of that was, was steered in the direction from the comment section on our Star Wars video. So this Kanan The Last Padawan #6 has a really cool cover. I really like the cover. It is the first full appearance of Wren. And yes, Wren she's sort of like a explosive weapons expert. But what I've found really cool about her is, she's 16 years old, so she's certainly young. She's, sort of following Kanan and Ezra Bridger, which are two older Jedis, but she has a Jedi lineage. Even though right now she's not really Padawan, she doesn't have a lightsaber, like she's sort of a graffiti explosive expert. Yeah, that's what it was. And I don't know too much about the Star Wars. She's from the Star Wars Rebels series, but rumblings right now that she might be in Mandalorian too. So I think Kanan The Last Padawan #6 is her first full appearance. #1, Kanan The Last Padawan, which we did talk about in the Star Wars video. That's her first cameo appearance, and that's the first appearance of Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger, so that's the sort of other key to consider. But I think this one has a little bit more potential with the cool cover and the first full appearance of Wren, which I think is a character that has a lot of potential. But yeah, let's have a look on the census, because it's so underfollowed and so early right now on this book. There's 8 CGC 9.8s, and all of the graded copies are the 8 CGC 9.8s with the 100% 9.8 ratio. So this is one that, it's so early right now that people haven't even begun to send some raws in to try and get 9.8s. Just really the big Star Wars, like 8 of the hugest Star Wars Rebel Wren fans have this probably. So for me, I, was steered on eBay and to do some research from the comments section. I ended up picking up a raw in this book in Canada. It's Near Mint Plus, he said. Yeah, unread Near Mint Plus, perfect copy basically. How much was that? It was $50 plus $8 shipping. Canadian, $58. Yeah, I didn't do that currency switch, but that's going to put it about $40 American shipped. So, I think that's paying up for a bit of a modern book, but I think Wren has a pretty bright future, and I think doing that Star Wars video maybe 3 or 4 days ago got me on a kick of researching a little bit more of modern Star Wars books, because I think I know the older series Star Wars books quite well, but these modern ones I think there's a lot of opportunity for to get some, high potential first appearances at what are seemingly cheap prices now. But, I mean, just look at Star Wars Clone Wars #1. That's the ultimate potential of some of these books, I think. And Wren, really fits the mold. And, I mean, these are rumors. I'm pretty sure that she's in Mandalorian 2. It's not like with Ahsoka Tano, like Rosario Dawson's playing her. Like, that's apparently for sure happening. But, I mean, you never know how these sort of rumors are going to pan out. And I always say, like, don't buy a book because a movie's coming out. But with the Star Wars The Last Padawan #6, you get a cool cover. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple other first appearances in this book as well. But, first Wren with the cool cover is really why people are going after this one. So, one to consider. That's just so underfollowed if you're a big Star Wars fan, yes. Kanan The Last Padawan #6. And not a lot of 9.8s out there, so might have to go after that one in the raw, Okay, last book here. #3 is one we've talked about in the past, but I think it just compares really nicely to other books out there. But it's Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from 2008. So with this book here, you get the origin of the team of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And for me, it's pretty much the second appearance of the new team Guardians of the Galaxy. But since a lot of people join in this one, and still in this issue, like Groot hasn't joined yet, so it's still like almost like a first full appearance. I sort of have said in the past, origin, first full appearance of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a little mixed up because even in my Overstreet price guide, it says, Annihilation Conquest. It says new team forms, and then in this one it says origin, and then all these other people join the team as well. So they kind of coincide as like the first appearance, both of the books. Annihilation Conquest #6, and this one Guardians of the Galaxy's #1. You get a great cover on this one from 2008. First full new team Guardians of the Galaxy and origin, we'll call it for now. So there's 164 CGC 9.8s in the blue label on the census, so kind of a 1 of 164 for a pretty big key issue and first full appearance of a team that's certainly in pop culture now and has a lot more potential, I think, to get even more and more popular. And the CGC 9.8 ratio is something I've talked about on this book in the past, and it's worth mentioning. It's a 23.3%. So for a 2008 book, that is just extremely low. It's, I've mentioned in the past, Ultimate Fallout 4, I always thought it had a lot of potential because it has a 32% CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 32% of them are 9.8. That's really low when you look at like other books like NYX #3 and Edge of Spider-Verse #2 that were at 6 to 8 months ago were more expensive than Ultimate Fallout 4, yet less rare in the 9.8. That never made sense to me. Now Ultimate Fallout 4 is more expensive than NYX #3. The last auction's going for 1,300-ish, I guess we'll call it for now, and they're always, each auction is higher and higher, it seems. Same with Batman Beyond #1 right now. But for Guardians of the Galaxy #1, it's more rare than Ultimate Fallout 4, 23.3%. That is more rare even than the Ultimate Fallout 4 variant, which now is going for like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in the CGC 9.8. So this is just a really rare book in the CGC 9.8 with that 9.8 ratio for its generation, for this modern, came out in 2008. So anything after 2000, the 9.8 ratios are generally 50, 60, 70, 80%. So to have this one at 23.3% is special. It's something that, it's worth sort of mentioning and kind of talking about for a little bit longer here. But we'll talk about price on this book because, looking at Go Collect, they still have it at $175. Heard of people on eBay sort of paying certainly over $200 for this book. This book's cold right now. It's pretty cold right now. It's we're certainly in between the second and third Guardians of the Galaxy MCU movies. So it is a really good time. I think that's a good value. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure during the last few Guardians of the Galaxy movies, this was going for over 200 in the CGC 9.8 all day. Like, even getting up to 250, 300 with those, after the trailer type environments for this book. So, I think right now it's good timing on this book. It looks really good on the census, and it just totally reminds me of Ultimate Fallout 4 about 8 months ago, where Ultimate Fallout 4, we were in between the Spider-Verse movies. It was looking the most rare on the census with the low CGC 9.8 ratio, and the prices were like a lot lower than like, wow, why is Edge of Spider-Verse and NYX so expensive in 9.8 with the higher, less rare in the CGC 9.8 than Ultimate Fallout 4, which is like the first new Spider-Man and such an embraced Spider-Man. So this, I think, a similar issue, so rare in the CGC 9.8, but still possibly under 200 you could get this for. Given that I think it's such a great case to be undervalued, I'd be definitely willing to pay for this anywhere up to 200. And I had bought 2 of these. Yeah, I bought, one of mine was like 160-ish, and the other one was 190. And yeah, I was really just happy paying 190 because I think it's absolutely worth it. And I think when Guardians of the Galaxy number 3 comes out, this is going to be 250, 300 all day. And because that CGC 9.8 ratio is really low, it's a special book. It stands out. It's, again, I don't know of any first appearance with like or a key issue first appearance, that's, a really high potential team like the new Team Guardians of the Galaxy or something like it, that has this really, really low CGC 9.8 ratio. Again, yeah, most modern books are just 50%-ish, like 50-something%. Edge of Spider-Verse 2 is like 61%, I'm pretty sure, of all graded copies are 9.8, so that's not very rare at all. And one of those sold for $1,000 the other day because Spider-Verse 2's coming out. Into the Spider-Verse number 2's coming out, and that Miles Morales PS5 game has added another boost to Ultimate Fallout number 4. So, okay, 3 books to consider there. I will have kind of a list of the 3 in the description below. Captain America number 6, Kanan The Last Padawan number 6, and Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 from 2005. Something to mention on these super hot books, hey? Like, wow, I think I said Batman Beyond yesterday or the day before, and a CGC 9.8 sold for $1,500, and I think I saw one sell for $1,800 American. I'm not sure if that was a best offer though, but 2 of them sold for ridiculous prices in the last few days. In Ultimate Fallout 4, I'm pretty sure like the 1,425. I think that is sounding. I think someone sent me an auction for that. It's almost not even worth it. Like the prices are to look at them right now. Like it just keeps going up and up and up. But my thinking a bit on these books. Batman Beyond right now is getting really, really hot on basically no announcements. Like I'm not really aware of, whereas Miles Morales, Ultimate Fallout 4, Into the Spider-Verse 2 rumors were all last week. Now those PS5, the game just hit really hard, and like everyone's talking about possibly a live-action Miles Morales movie after that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised by Batman Beyond continuing this sort of upward trend to definitely one selling for $1,500. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday or the day before. Whereas Ultimate Fallout 4, there's all these rumors and promotions, and it's hard to, is that going to last forever? And then once those go away, will it maybe sort of settle around $1,000? Like, I don't know. It's so tough to call right now. I remember, though, I made that video, like, where will Ultimate Fallout 4 go next? And at that point, the listings were like 700-ish. But, I mean, if you went in there and dived in and got one for 700, I mean, you're almost looking pretty good right now, with one selling for, there's a few, I think, selling for about 1,300, 1,400. Yeah, it's just a wild time right now for these 2 books. So, but, in that, spirit of maybe trying to be a little more savvy and not, I don't recommend to buy these books right now. Yeah, I think you got to hands off, you got to be patient, especially with these 2 books now. But so worth it to think about some other CGC 9.8s. And yeah, I came up with these 3, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 is one I'm very happy continuing to recommend because I think the facts are on my side with the census, and then I think with that one, the negative is that Annihilation Conquest 6. You always have that sort of like predates this book by a month, so that's sort of certainly the first new Team Guardians of the Galaxy, even though a lot of people kind of join in this one, so I sort of think of them almost as one book in a way. But that's a bit of a negative for the Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. But the thing about the Annihilation Conquest number 6, if that was really rare in the CGC 9.8, I would definitely be buying that one. but it's a 51, I think, percent CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, about 51% of them are CGC 9.8s, whereas Guardians of the Galaxy #1, of all graded copies, 23.3% of them, only 23.3% of them are 9.8s. And that's just so rare in the modern age. Yeah, I just haven't really seen anything like it yet. So, yeah, so we'll conclude up there. And I do, I think my top pick is certainly Guardians of the Galaxy #1 based on kind of just what I said. Captain America #6. I think, to just sort of strip down, don't really think about the census, don't really think about anything, and just thinking about my nephew really, really being attracted to the character, and I think that's really positive sort of long-term for this character. So if you do have a sort of long-term time horizon on this book, I think to get it under 200, and if you can get it closer to 170, which Go Collect says that is the fair market value, I think that's a steal in a Captain America #6. First full Winter Soldier. Kanan The Last Padawan just is I bought a raw copy. I, maybe consider buying another 1 or 2 raw copies. And, I'm really I think right now I'm in that mind frame of where I'm trying to learn something new here and get into these modern Star Wars comic books a little bit more. And I'm having lots of fun, I think. And I think really I kind of want to get in a bit into the Star Wars Rebels series, because I did mention I don't watch too much TV, but I think that would be kind of cool just to get more familiar with some of these characters, the Rebels series and the Clone Wars series even. Okay, thanks so much for watching today, though. I hope you got some ideas, and I think in that spirit of trying to be a little more savvy and, let's maybe hold off on these really hot books and, look for the value kind of thing. And I think these 3 moderns, they do well for value in this current market. Yeah, a pretty crazy market, but still high potential, these 3 books for sure. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, I invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. And I'd love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. Hit the bell for all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter as well. Yeah, but hopefully you got some ideas here. I know we haven't talked about Captain America #6 very much, so I think that's one that I am searching for. And obviously I bought The Last Padawan #1, and I'm over sort of pounding the table right now for Guardians of the Galaxy #1 as well. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Message me on Instagram if you'd want to talk about whatever it might be or have any questions. Alrighty, thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.